Fox 8 will host a statewide gubernatorial debate as we get closer to Election Day.
Moderator John Snell joins us with a preview from the campus of the University of New Orleans. John.
Well, good afternoon. We are live here at the university's Performing Arts Center, where in just 3 hours, two of the candidates for governor will meet in a statewide debate. In order to qualify for the debate tonight, candidates had to poll at least 5% in a statewide poll by Gray Television. Only 3 candidates met that threshold. They are Shawn Wilson, the former state transportation secretary, Stephen Waguespack, the former Jindal aide and head of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, and Attorney General Jeff Landry. Attorney General Landry has chosen to decline our invitation to debate tonight. Now, what will we be talking about? Some of the issues actually that were most frequently cited in that very same poll, issues that have been among the top ones on the minds of voters now for decades. Our Fox 8 poll shows that voters are most concerned when it comes to issues about the economy, 23%. Crime and drugs used to be considered a local issue. That now pops off the screen as something that is a statewide concern, reflected in the poll by voters. After that, some longtime issues that Louisiana has confronted: education, health care, the escalating costs of insurance, followed by taxes and spending. The hour-long debate takes place here at UNO, 7 o'clock tonight. I'll be joined by a panel of reporters and anchors from various television stations across Louisiana, and we hope you will join us. Live at UNO, John Snell, Fox 8, Local First.
All right, John, thank you very much. And 2 of the 3 candidates for governor who met the criteria for tonight's Fox 8 Gray TV statewide debate say they're excited to speak to voters.
Sabrina Wilson spoke with Republican Stephen Waguespack and Democrat Shawn Wilson. Sabrina.
That's right. Waguespack and Wilson welcomed the opportunity to field questions and tell voters what they plan to do if elected governor. Jeff Landry, as John mentioned, the front runner in the race according to our recent poll, declined to participate. Shawn Wilson opened a campaign office on St. Charles Avenue this afternoon and welcomed supporters, and Stephen Waguespack interacted with potential voters in Mid-City in New Orleans this afternoon. Both Wilson and Waguespack met the criteria for participation in tonight's debate, along with Jeff Landry. As John mentioned, in a recent statewide Gray Television poll of 625 registered voters, 40% said they would vote for Landry, 24% said they'd vote for Wilson, and 9% say they'd vote for Waguespack. The other candidates got less than 5% in our poll. According to the criteria for tonight's debate, candidates had to poll at 5% or higher to be eligible to participate.
I'm excited to be there tonight, and it's time for voters to dial in. Look, this is down to a race of 3 qualified candidates: myself, Shawn Wilson, and Attorney General Jeff Landry. 2 of us have chosen to show up. 1 has not. So I want voters to pay attention, not just what's said tonight, but what's not said tonight by one candidate who doesn't want to debate. So look, everyone needs to put their message out there. Every voter deserves to hear the truth. Shawn and I are committed to do it. I call on the Attorney General to do the same.
We're going to do the same thing that we've done on the campaign trail, which is distinguish ourselves from the rest of the candidates. And the fact that the Attorney General, Jeff Landry, has again dodged another opportunity to speak to the citizens of Louisiana is quite disappointing. But the fact that our poll numbers are significant and it's demonstrating success, this is an opportunity to continue what we've been doing and talking to citizens about what matters to make sure that we're safer, smarter, healthier, and wealthier.
Early voting kicks off this Saturday, and our political analyst Mike Sherman says all the candidates in the race have very little time left to convince voters to support them. Of course, the October primary is October 14th, and if there is a runoff, it would be in November.